Sumerian tablets, Planet X, ancient Anunnaki, Nibiru, and Gold, and what mainstream history is not telling us. The existence of the ancient Anunnaki, the extraterrestrial civilization that came to Earth in the distant past, has been disputed by researchers, and yet their existence and arrival to planet Earth is documented in many ancient texts that mainstream history has completely ignored. According to Zecharia Sitchin, the Anunnaki gods created humans as slave species called the Adamu. The Adamu, the first modern humans to live on Earth. The first humans were the product of intelligent design by the Anunnaki, and it's estimated that it was about 450,000 years ago when the ancient Anunnaki had genetic manipulation. They mixed their DNA with that of prehistoric man, and that would obtain a labor force that allowed them to exploit Earth's natural resources. So historically speaking, there are many similarities among ancient Sumerian texts and modern religious texts, one of them being the Holy Bible. Could they have a similar origin? Some African cultures believe extraterrestrial beings had visited Earth tens of thousands of years ago. For example, the Zulu legends speak of a time when visitors from the stars came to excavate gold and other natural resources. Is that a coincidence? These mines were worked by slaves created by the first people. The story behind the Anunnaki, those whom Anu sent from heaven to earth, is far more mysterious than anyone is willing to accept. But in recent years, mostly because of the ancient astronaut theory, which proposes that Earth has been visited by advanced alien civilizations thousands of years ago, the truth behind the Anunnaki gained much importance among millions of readers around the globe. Now, what is the evidence of the Anunnaki present in ancient clay tablets? If the Anunnaki did exist, we would find evidence of their reign here on Earth. Well, according to many researchers, the evidence is abundant. During excavations of the biblical city of Nineveh, a team led by Austin Henry Layard discovered the ruins of the ancient Assyrian library of Ashurbanipal. Interestingly, one of the most important discoveries made at that excavation were a series of cuneiform tablets called the Enuma Elish, better known as the Seven Tablets of Creation, Enuma Elish. And according to numerous researchers, these seven tablets of creation recite the story about a group of gods called the Anunnaki, who came from heaven to create the human race. The Sumerian king list is one of the most important ancient texts that perfectly describes a time in history where literally, quote-unquote, gods ruled for thousands of years. And you can find out more about that from the ancient Sumerian king list. Now, after the kingship descended from heaven, the kingship was in Eridu. In Eridu, Alulim became the king, and he ruled for, well, these entities used to live for tens of thousands of years. He ruled for 8,000 years, and Al-Jar ruled for 36,000 years. Two kings, and they ruled for 64,800 years. This is from the Sumerian king list. One of the most interesting details about the Sumerian king list is the fact that the earliest list describes 8 kings who ruled over Earth for a total of 241,200 years, since the original kingship had descended from heaven all the way to the time of the Great Flood, which swept over the land, and once more the kingship was lowered from heaven after the flood. Now, the Great Flood, according to ancient Sumerian accounts, did we know that the earliest accounts of the Great Flood are found in the ancient Sumerian texts? According to the ancient Sumerians, Eridu, modern-day Abu Sahrain, Iraq, was believed to have been the first city ever created and was the home city of the great god Enki. The city was thought to have been founded about 5400 BC. The Eridu Genesis, thought to have been composed about 2300 BC, is the earliest known account of the Great Flood, predating the more popular Great Flood described in the biblical book of Genesis. So that was written before Moses wrote Genesis. The Eridu of Moses, as we know, is about 1500 BC. Eridu Genesis is a tale where Utnapishtim was instructed by the gods to build a great vessel and gather inside the seed of life. In the book written by Thorkild Jacobsen, renowned historian, and he specializes in Assyriology and Summerian literature, he says that the creation of man is attributed to four gods, the Anunnaki. This is what he says. Thorkild Jacobsen, the Treasures of Darkness, says, the Eridu Genesis described the creation of man by the four great gods, the Anunnaki, sky, the source of rain and most powerful of the gods, Enlil, Lord Wind, the power in growing weather and creator of the hoe, Ninhurshaga, lady of the stony ground, mother of wildlife, and Enki, rival of Ninhursaga. After Ninhursaga had decided to turn man from his primitive nomadic camping grounds towards city life, the period began when animals flourished on earth and kingship came down from heaven. The earliest cities were built, were named, had the measuring cups, emblems of a redistributional economic system allotted to them, and were divided between the gods. Irrigation agriculture was developed, and man thrived and multiplied. However, the noise made by man in his teeming settlements began to vex Enlil sorely, and driven beyond endurance, he persuaded the other gods to wipe out man in a great flood. Enki, thinking quickly, found a way to warn his favorite, one Ziusudra, told him to build a boat in which to survive the flood with his family and representatives of the animals. Now, ancient Anunnaki mines concerning the gold and the mining of various minerals. Is there any evidence of this? Well, 150 kilometers west of Port Maputo in South Africa, we find what many people today refer to as one of the first major ancient Anunnaki cities, metropolises. According to initial tests, the area of over 1,500 square miles is evidence of the existence of giant prehistoric cities that belong to an unknown ancient civilization that inhabited this area in the distant past, at a time when mainstream scholars tell us advanced civilizations did not inhabit the earth. According to Michael Tellinger, one of the first researchers who investigated these ruins in South Africa, the finding is so incredible that it will need a complete paradigm shift in how we view our human history. Tellinger proposes that the amazing ancient city is part of an even larger community with about 10,000 square kilometers and is believed to have been constructed 160,000 to 200,000 years before Christ. Nibiru Gold, saving the home planet of the ancient Anunnaki. Now, what about this Nibiru? And also, why did the ancient Anunnaki come specifically to Earth in the distant past? Well, in 1976, the late Zecharia Sitchin raised a controversy with the publication of his book, The 12th Planet. In this and subsequent books, Sitchin presents his translations of ancient Summerian texts which tell an incredible story regarding the origins of humanity on Earth, and these stories are completely different to those that most of us learned in school concerning ancient history and anthropology. Nibiru is the mythical planet located in the outer reaches of our solar system. It's the giant home planet of the Anunnaki, and it was doomed And the only thing that could save the planet was gold. Interestingly enough, Sitchin hypothesizes that the Anunnaki came from Nibiru, which has a 3,600-year elliptical orbit, to mine gold on Earth. The planet's minerals and resources were depleting, specifically gold, and the Anunnaki's home planet needed gold in the atmosphere, which was disappearing, so they came to our planet to mine gold to take it back to their home planet. That was the explanation given. Now, do we know that gold reflects infrared light? I didn't know that. Gold reflects infrared light. Infrared is the light you do not see, but in fact interacts with it in the form of heat. The radiation interacts with other molecules that make them vibrate faster, so you'll feel that it's heat. And gold also makes an excellent heat shield, partly because it's quite malleable. And better yet, you can make gold very thin, it's easy to work with, and it has excellent properties for reflecting and heat protection, making it indeed the only metal that is proven to last the test of time. We can say that gold is indestructible. Ancient civilization used it thousands of years ago in figures, and some of them in buildings. Anything that was made out of gold thousands of years ago still exists today. Now, not only in ancient Sumeria, but ancient civilizations across the globe have a very special place for gold in their society. Are these stories about the ancient Anunnaki just ancient mythology? Are they a real extraterrestrial race that has visited Earth thousands of years ago? Well, we don't know. In the meantime, we have not found any of these ET ancient alien skeletons. Whatever has been found has been tested for DNA analysis, and they say that they're humans. Others say that they're humanoid. It could have been a mixture of extraterrestrials and humans, and with the genetic manipulation, and you can understand where all this is. We don't have any evidence of all this. Anyway, this is from Bended Reality via Ancient Code. If you'd like to join me on my Patreon account, you will hear content not covered by mainstream media. These riveting stories will be based on my research, and I will state my opinions and give my personal insight on diverse and controversial subjects and world events not covered by mainstream media, and not supported by YouTube guidelines. So whatever I have on my Patreon, most of those will not be on my YouTube channel. Please consider becoming a member today. More of the most significant and important videos will be on my Patreon channel. Your support helps me to continue my research and keeps this YouTube channel alive. And we depend on your support, your generous charity, because we help economically challenged families here in Athens, Greece, in Kapota, and we also help the young generation with university tuition and the community around our church. Thank you.